A superstar LeBron James just endorsed Vice President Harris and added this video to his post of support.
We're going to indemnify police officers and law enforcement from being destroyed by the radical left. You're changing history. You're changing culture.
Of course I hate these people. And let's all hate these people, because maybe hate is what we need.
Next to that video, James asks, what are we even talking about here? Which, great question. And last night, rapper Cardi B campaigned with Harris in Milwaukee, responding to Donald Trump's claim that he will, quote, protect women.
Trump says he's going to protect women whether they like it or not. Well, if his definition of protection is not the freedom of choice, if his definition of protection is making sure our daughters have fewer rights than our mothers, then I don't want it!
Joining us now, Democratic Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley of Massachusetts. She has been on a swing state blitz for the Harris-Walz campaign. She's set to visit Georgia again on Sunday and Pennsylvania on Monday. Congresswoman, welcome.
Good to be with you.
Welcome, Congresswoman. I would like to note that, I am regularly in Washington, D.C., mistaken for the Congresswoman at a restaurant. Why? I don't know. I think because she is fabulous, and I'd like to hope I represent you well in those moments. I know that you and the members of the Congressional Black Caucus have been on a bus tour, actually, over the last couple of weeks, and it took you to many places within North Carolina. Can you just bring us into what you are seeing on the campaign trail and what specifically is resonating with voters?
Absolutely. Members of our Democratic caucus and the Congressional Black Caucus, we've been deployed, barnstorming, all over in these critical battleground states. And it was wonderful to be on the Congressional Black Caucus Institute bus. And I'll just say one of the things that I've been most heartened and encouraged by is that in the past, as a surrogate, when I've gone to Georgia, I've mostly been in Atlanta. When I've gone to Pennsylvania, I've mostly been in Philadelphia. But in the Harris-Walz campaign, we have stood up infrastructure in counties throughout these states, respectively. And so we're touching people in Meadville, Pennsylvania. We're touching people in Princeville, North Carolina. We're going to Erie, Pennsylvania. We're going to places where people have not been engaged for a very long time, and they are so excited. It lets them know that their vote matters and that they are seen. I'm seeing people who are phone banking for the first time in their lives, door knocking for the first time in their lives, making a donation, sowing a seed from $5 and up for the very first time in their life, traveling to states for the very first time, because they understand just how high the stakes are and that the contrast could not be sharper. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, they mean to take us back to Jim Crow and then some. They want to control our wombs. They want to control the classrooms. They want to control our bedrooms. They mean to control every aspect of our lives. They mean harm to every person that calls this country home. Whereas Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, they're about our freedoms, restoring those that have been gutted, preserving them, expanding upon those, and taking us into the future, centering the humanity and the dignity of every worker, of every person, of every family model that calls this country home. So I have to say I'm experiencing two things out there on the trail. One, people are very afraid. They are afraid, but they're also hopeful. And both of those variables have people motivated to do things they've never done before.
Congresswoman, I want to pick up on something you said, because I think in some aspects it has gotten lost in translation, and it was brought home, at least for me, in a very profound way by the ad that accompanied LeBron James's endorsement, where there's the visual of the arc of history of Jim Crow and racism and segregation and the ugliness. The quotes of Donald Trump said, I hate these people. We should all hate these people. Maybe we should bring hate back. And this was from the 80s, and now that's being lived out in his presidential campaign. And you just touched on, this sort of wanting to pull us back into this era. Talk about the resistance to that, because I think it runs deeper than folks may realize in this campaign, not just for what we see around abortion and reproductive health and things like that, but even more broadly, where I think Americans, and you're being on the ground, I'm wondering if you're seeing and hearing some of this, are just to a point where they go, wait a minute, hold up, what are we talking, as LeBron said, what are we talking about here? Are we really prepared to do that? Do you sense that in these final hours of the campaign that folks are really resisting this pull back to an era where we're leveling up Jim Crow, for God's sake?
Absolutely. And again, recognizing that the Harris Walz ticket, we are the underdogs. We know that. That's why we are doing everything to earn the trust and confidence and the votes of as many people as possible. And what I'm experiencing on the ground is that for those people that are late breaking in their decision, they are breaking to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Given the stakes that we just enumerated here, people do not want to go backwards. One of the stops that we had during the Congressional Black Caucus Institute bus tour was in Greensboro, North Carolina, and we went to the Civil Rights Museum there. And we were very honored to touch the lunch counter that launched us into an incredible movement of desegregating lunch counters throughout the country, thanks to these 4 brave young Black men. And it was just such a reminder of that we're on the precipice of going back again to Jim Crow and then some. And I do see, feel, and hear on the ground that people understand that and they do not want to go back. But moreover, that they understand that they deserve more from a president than someone that wants to normalize school shootings, someone that wants to eliminate Head Start, someone who doesn't, who wants to deny women the agency over their very bodies. And in many ways, the women of this country, given a march towards a nationwide ban on abortion, a nation of forced birth, we're talking about just normalizing the slow death of women. Doctors are rendered helpless and unable to help them in a case of an emergency. A nation of forced birth when we have a Black maternal morbidity crisis. A nation of forced birth where we have no universal child care, no paid leave. People want more, and they know that they deserve more. So what I'm seeing and feeling on the ground is for those that are late breaking and making a decision that they are breaking for the Harris Walz ticket, they know that Kamala Harris is qualified, she is poised, and she is ready. And they also recognize this because, perfection is never on the ballot. But in this moment, everything is on the line. Our democracy is on the line, our fundamental freedoms, and they know that she'll be a partner that they can hold accountable as well.
Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, thank you very much for your time this morning. It's good to see you.